Hello everyone, my name is Julie Bowles, and today I will be speaking to you about the endangered Mediterranean monk seal, also known as Monachus monachus. The monk seal is one of the most critically endangered of the pinniped species. Genetic variation, human encroachment, and overhunting have been the major threat to this curious apex predator. One of the only seal communities that exist in the tropics, it is one of 3 unique species, one of which has been declared extinct. Endangered species are becoming increasingly more common as the human population continues to expand at an alarming rate, with a higher demand for food and space with the same amount of resources. The only way to prevent this species from going extinct is through aggressive conservation efforts. The majority of the Mediterranean monk seal habitat is found in the aquatic coastal biome, as well as caves with aquatic entrances. Adult males can weigh up to 315 kilograms and be up to 2.4 meters in length, and females are slightly shorter, weighing roughly 300 kilograms. The species has sexual dimorphism in which the male is larger than the female. They have seasonal mating periods that range from September to November, with sexual maturity taking place at the age of 4 to 6 years of age, with a long gestational period lasting roughly 11 months. The average time between births is 13 months, and the weaning period is approximately 6 weeks. As the females are viviparous, the pup is born precocial and weighing around 17 to 24 kilograms. When females give birth, they do so generally on coastlines or in caves, and survive on metabolizing their fat during the weaning periods, but do not leave their pup to hunt. The survival rate of pups past the first year of life is only around 20%, with the most significant threat due to predation from tiger sharks. The average lifespan of the animal is about 30 years in the wild. The species is diurnal and sticks to a relatively small geographic range, feeding primarily on cephalopods like octopus, eels, tuna, lobsters, mullets, sardines, and flatfish. New World seals, known as the genus Neomanchinus, was comprised of the Caribbean and Hawaiian monk seals that branched off of the Monachus monachus species around 6.3 Maya. Evidence suggests that this occurred in the late Pliocene, resulting from the Central American seaway closure, which caused a divergence in the species, which supports a hypothesis in pinniped evolutionary biology. The Caribbean monk seal was declared extinct in 2008, with the last living mammal being seen in 1952. The first seal species in which humans were solely culpable in their extinction. This now leaves the Hawaiian and Mediterranean monk seals as the last surviving species in the Monachus genus. Historically, monk seals thrived across the North African coastline, Atlantic Ocean, as well as the Mediterranean and Black Seas. During this time, their community was not threatened as they were commonplace in their geographic range. The first decline of their species was due in part by Greek, Roman, and Byzantine early civilizations, as well as Spanish and Portuguese sealers in the 15th and 16th centuries that caused intense overhunting. Coupled with a mass extinction event that decimated approximately 80% of the population, thought to have been caused by a morbillivirus epizootic infection or toxic algae bloom in 1997, the numbers have continued to decline and they have been unable to recover, partly due to increasing threats, a slow birthing rate, and low survival rate of pups. Today, their numbers have been significantly reduced to approximately 300 to 400 individuals, the largest community of which is located on the west coast of Africa on the Cap Blanc Peninsula. The monk seal is separated into 3 geographic locations: the Greek Isles, Cyprus, and the coast of Turkey. As evidenced in this home range map of the geographic distribution of the species today compared to the early 15th centuries, the devastating effects of overhunting these endangered animals and following a mass extinction event that decimated their numbers, the surviving population faces an even more significant challenge to replenish their numbers. As the females take several years to develop before they can reproduce and only produce one pup per birthing season with a relatively low survival rate, the ability to replenish their numbers is a slow process. The main anthropogenic threats involve the low birth rate of females, which depletes genetic variation. In addition to the low birth rate, the danger of overfishing is consuming their food sources, collision from boats, intentional killings by fishermen to extinguish the threat of competition. As the Mediterranean monk seal is one of the few tropical seal species, human encroachment caused by tourism and coastal development causes greater competition for resources, forcing the seals to use caves that have the potential to collapse from aquatic erosion, as well as the increasing rate of pup mortality due to hazardous conditions. Another urban threat is commercial killings to harvest their oils and skins, especially on the North African coast. Contamination from human waste and pollution from floating debris and fishing nets presents another threat. Conservation efforts must be taken seriously, considering the closely related Caribbean monk seal has already been declared extinct. The conservation efforts to ensure this doesn't occur with the Mediterranean species, the approach must be taken more aggressively. First, hunting for any reason, be it food, oil, skins, etc., must be banned, and heavy penalties must be given to ensure compliance with the regulation. Secondly, the habitats for the species must be reinstated, and portions of beaches need to be restricted to eliminate human interaction so the seals can birth on beaches and decrease the pup mortality rate, as well as reducing the amount of boat traffic through this coastal area closest to the beach to prevent accidental collisions, entanglement from fishing nets and other fishing gear, and interactions with fishermen. Thirdly, fishing limitations need to be instituted to not only avert overfishing that is depleting resources for apex predators like the Mediterranean monk seals, but other predators as well. Lastly, and perhaps the most difficult, is to avoid further pollution from human waste, debris, and consuming plastics. However, 80% of litter found on coastlines originate from land-based sources. The best option is to spread information about proper recycling, reducing the usage of single-use plastics, purchasing reusable straws, etc., in an attempt to reduce the amount of pollution over time. The Mediterranean monk seal is one of the most critically endangered pinniped species in the tropics. The genus has 3 primary species, the Mediterranean, Caribbean, and Hawaiian seal. The Neomonchus occurred in the late Pliocene period with the closing of the Central American Seaway. Since the early 15th century, the species has been hunted for food, oil, medicine, and skin. A mass extinction event in 1997 caused a significant portion of the population to die in a short period. Thought to have been due to an infection or toxic algae, the slow the birthing rate and human encroachment on the habitat are causing conservation efforts to be somewhat in vain. Conservation efforts need to be aggressive to ensure that this species does not become extinct as well. The concentration of these efforts needs to be aimed at reducing human contact with the species, as well as preserving the remaining habitat. If the remaining population can slowly replenish their numbers, there may be hope for this endangered species. However, if these conservation efforts are not effective, or they have been instituted too late, the efforts may not be enough to counteract the damage done by humans since the first interaction between these two species. On the last slide here, you can see my references. The reference map that was listed earlier in the slides was from Dr. Scheel, Slater, Kolokotronis, Potter, Rothstein, Sangaris, and Helgen in 2014 on page 4. Thank you.